Welcome to Paris Set Me Free mini photo tutorials. Now here's one I shot in a format called RAW, and what that means is I have to show you use another program to show you these pictures, because the one I normally use, including Windows Explorer, doesn't actually show you RAW photographs. RAW means that you haven't changed the information the camera saw at all. Normally they do, they transform it into JPEG, so there's compression in there. Sometimes they apply algorithms to things like contrast and saturation of colors to make it brighter and so on. The RAW format doesn't do any of that. You've got what the camera saw, and then it's up to you to do what you want to do afterwards. So here you can see it. It was a situation I often see. It's on one of the two metro lines, which is above the city for much of their route, which is line 2 and line 6. This is line 6 near the Eiffel Tower. Finished off a tour with a new friend from Belgium, and was waiting for the metro here. You can see the sun setting in the direction of the Eiffel Tower. This is line 6, probably La Motte Piquet, Grenelle, something like that. And you've got this lovely. They've recently redone the station, so it's all very nice, but they've kept all the original ironwork with these lovely enormous rivets or something sticking out. Absolutely beautiful industrial architecture, very much in the style of the Eiffel Tower itself. And here you can see the sky turning a lovely colour. It's a bit dark though, which in a way it's nice because it mixes daylight with artificial light, which often gives extremely nice results. Bit of graffiti here, and then those lines there nicely frame the top, and here is a frame within a frame. All we really wanted was a train. So, well, you don't have to wait too long until you get one. I'm waiting for it to. I'm actually not waiting for the train. I'm waiting for the picture to change. There we go. That's looking the other direction. There's a train. It's not as good as the one with the frame though, looking the other way. You see, because it's all very well. You've got these amazing lines zooming towards you with this perspective to the vanishing point. This is the other end, but I'm not near the other end, and I much prefer this. That's the same train probably leaving, and look, here's the train coming. Now, what have I done? I think I let this train go by, this train disappear, maybe waited for the next one. I'm not too sure about that. Let me see. Okay, now because these are raw photos, they're taking a long time to. It's quite nice though. You see now that it's snapped into focus. You've got very nice colour there. It's a bit off kilter there. It's and in this case I don't like this particular angle. I think it should be a bit straighter on. Here's another one. Okay, so you see I was just taking a few different shots, and then eventually I came up with this one. Obviously I've played around with it a bit. You can see that as you go through the arrival of the train, from there it's coming, and this one is leaving. It's getting closer. Now this one coming, it wouldn't be very impressive. If this one's going, it's not very exciting, and it's kind of on this side of the shot. It's not very aesthetic. You know, I think that a picture of a train is the most impressive when it's thundering towards you. It looks like it's almost about to crush you, and it's filling about 2/3 of the frame. So I was waiting. Here it comes, and bam! There it is. Dramatic photograph. You've got this one next to it, which you could say gets in the way, but for one thing I couldn't do anything about it, and secondly, well, I don't know if it gets in the way or not. You know, the green here is kind of echoed by the green here, so it kind of frames the big pounding front of the train in a way. And the green here isn't too far from the blue here. Obviously after the processing it's turned a weird sort of blue, whereas in the original picture it was a bit more like that, but that's the way it went. And these have got a nice orangey colour as well, pale orange, pale blue. Orange and blue used to be my favourite colours at one point when I was a kid, and then I moved on to another phase where it was green and purple. So I think I was a kind of secondary colours guy. Anyway, the final shot, I ended up with this. It's gone a bit grainy here, but I don't think it was that grainy in the big version. This is a reduced version, and put a bit of a vignette on the edge there. You see it darkens a little bit there. I wanted to try that out, just to kind of draw the focus onto this, and I went for this grain. I think probably I would have preferred a bit less grain here, but the effect that I used brought that in. But I don't know, it kind of adds to the speed. Look at the light. Those are reflections of the station lights, which are probably over here, zooming as the train is coming towards us. You see those points of light which have turned into lines. Gives this extremely dynamic feeling. In retrospect, looking back at this one, I'm wondering if I don't prefer this one. But anyway, that's the one I've put on the web. Nice and grainy. I do like grain. Look at the grain there. It's almost not... doesn't really remind you of digital grain. It really is quite close to film grain in a way. In the other one, it's much softer. So it's a choice to make. It's a personal choice. It's not that one is better than the other at all. That in creative photography, that isn't really an issue. If you've decided to do something and you like it, then that's the one to go with. Unless you're some sort of slave to somebody else's ideas of what makes a good photograph, or you're doing a course where you're supposedly supposed to be following rules or illustrating rules, which is fair enough, then that's fine. But when you free yourself from those shackles, or once you've learnt the useful rules that they give you, then off you go. There's no right or wrong at all. I guess one of the rules that you often learn, which I do apply very often, is the fact of the idea of not putting the object of interest, the subject, if you like, in the centre. That's quite a standard one, which is generally almost always true. If I had the girl by the fountain, I had the girl here on the left, the water here, and to be honest, there was nothing really in the middle, not that I can remember. Here the train, it's not, the middle of this train isn't slap bang in the middle, it's so off towards the right. Another interesting idea to think of is when you've got something moving, it's often nice to have it moving into the picture with more space in front of it than behind it. In other words, it's got more space to go into. For example, a person walking, or even a person looking, their head could be here, and if it's tilted, they're looking slightly this way, it makes a more coherent picture. If they were here, you'd probably have them more looking this way. Of course, if you want to make a more dramatic photograph, you can have them looking straight out of the photo. It doesn't really matter. The point is to know that these rules exist and to know when to break them. But if you don't know that they exist, a rule, it's not really a rule, it's just somebody's idea. But rules often come about because they've been thought to be right by more people than not. So that's why you can call them rules. They're not really rules. In this case, you can see I may possibly have broken it, because this train certainly doesn't have more space here to go into than to come out of. It's coming out of this entire length of track here, and it's got about a metre to go into before smack it hits the edge of the frame. But I like that idea because that emphasises speed. It's going so fast and it's such a violent thing that it's no sooner into the frame that it's striving to zoom out the other side. So it's a question of playing with these ideas and playing with our conception and our ideas of what things do. So the fact that this is closer to the edge here, whereas we might expect it to have more space to go into, might suggest to us that it's going very fast. We didn't have time to take the shot before it was almost reaching the edge of the frame and zooming out. So that's a psychological way of illustrating speed or haste, for example. Right, well, that's all I've got time for. Thanks for watching, and see a good version on parissetmefree.blogspot.com, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.